Hello again, Eve Anastasia here, and welcome to my esoteric channel. This is part 3 in a series of So You Want to Learn the Tarot. I kind of rushed through the last video because, this stuff is kind of nerve-wracking. I want to give you enough information and hold your attention long enough, so I think I need to slow it down a little bit and be as precise as I can about this part of our journey with the tarot. I'm still using a Rider-Waite deck, and again, I've used this deck my entire life. One of my other favorite decks is the Salvador Dali deck, which was gifted to me by my mother many years ago. And it's a wonderful deck because each card is basically a work of art, literally. These do come with their own instruction or a separate instruction book. But if we build a foundation with the Rider-Waite deck, it's the best presentation or representation of the energies within each of these cards. Now, I talked about briefly how to protect yourself with different types of stones while we're working with other people, say our querent or the significator of a querent. Let me back up. The querent is someone that we're reading for. A significator is a card that represents that querent. So, say I have a lovely young woman come in and she would like to know about some things in her life. What I would do is I would take out the 4 queens, one of each deck, and lay them in front of her. And from which card she's choosing as her significator will tell me basically what she wants to know about. So if she's pulling a card, say I'm working with Pentacles right now in Earth, I would know that she wants to know about her health or money or a business proposition, a new job, financial investment. Once she picks her significator, I basically know what she wants to know about. If she were to, say, pick the Queen of Cups, I would know it's about emotions or her intuition or love. Same thing with like wands. Wands would be some creative endeavor or some adventure or maybe a traveling thing that she's going to be doing. And air, something of deep thinking. Maybe there's something she's starting a new project or something along those lines. Also, swords are basically a suit of suffering. But we'll get back to that a little bit later when we're in that suit. Right now, I want to talk to you a little bit about bonding with your cards. First of all, we want to store them somewhere where they're away from everybody else. We don't want people just picking up our cards and playing with them like they're a regular deck of cards. That would be totally disrespectful to your deck and to you as a person. You don't want people just touching your deck. It's just not something you want to do. It's not wise. You never know what their energy is going to do to your cards, what kind of stuff they have hanging around them as far as entities, if there's negative energy. We never really know what we're dealing with other people. Just like you don't know what I'm thinking, I don't know what you're thinking. Sometimes you see people walk down the road and they're a serial killer. You never know, right? So we don't want just anybody touching our deck, especially if we have children or a partner. It's just not a good thing to do. So we definitely want to wrap them up and put them in something dark. You can have a special box for it, but maybe paint the inside of a box black because that will negate any energy getting on these cards. Silk is always a good choice. So I will dig out some silk, and my silk is colored, and I would wrap my deck neatly in this silk here, and then I would put it in my box, because this is a nice natural material. It's said in many places where you could just maybe dye this black or have black silk specifically for your cards. But we want natural materials. Let's not deal with plastic or PVC or anything like that. We want wood and we want metal. So just to keep that in mind, we want nice natural materials around our cards. I spoke briefly about cleansing them with sage or Palo Alto wood, or putting them on a piece of selenite. Smudging is always good, but frankincense is the deep cleanser. You can even mix that with myrrh. Myrrh is which is like very earthy. frankincense and myrrh are always good for cleansing, but frankincense really gets down to your molecular level. Especially if you're reading for multiple people or multiple people are in your sacred space, so to speak. You want to cleanse that area. Sage just doesn't do the trick. Sage is like, okay. But frankincense is really going to get heavy and deep and really cleanse out in the little nooks and crannies of any, it negates all energy, negative and positive. Boom. Okay, so bonding with your cards is really important. If I'm sleeping with my cards, which is a great thing to do, put them under your pillow. Like I'll use this silk here, which is not black, right? And I can wrap my cards in the silk, as shown before, and put them under my pillow and sleep with them. That's a great way to bond with your cards. Playing with them often is a great way to bond with your cards. But to help you along your journey, to really fine tune your skills and really be in touch, not only on this physical plane of existence, but on a deeper subconscious or superconscious level. Because let's face it, when I'm reading for you, and you and I are sitting here, and we're using this as our divination tool, our subconscious and superconscious is involved with this symbolism. I had mentioned maybe in one of my videos about how, symbolism is the only way for our subconscious to communicate, because there's so many languages and so many written word. We can't just write a word and our subconscious is going to basically understand that the same way someone else's is, say of a different language. Say my sister is speaking Czech and I am speaking English, and what's going to connect us both is the symbolism. So what's important is we get in touch with the symbolism of all of our cards. First of all, if we're dealing with an ace is a beginning, right? Number one on our tree of life, it's called Kether. It's the first swirlings. It's number one. It's the beginning. It is of something. And here in the suit of Pentacles or Earth, it's definitely having to do with a new beginning with money or a physical venture. Okay, so because the pentacle is showing us here that it's magically appearing out of air, it's usually something that's not planned, this particular card. Now, if I really want to bond with this card, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this card in front of me, take a real good look at it, close my eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and then imagine myself climbing into this card. I can climb right in there and walk down this little path. I can, pick the flowers. I can look up at the sky at the pentacle and really get in touch with this card. Now, I have to associate with something with my consciousness as well now. Now, if I'm doing that, what I want to do is think about an endeavor of mine or a situation personal to me where this card was relevant. Say, a new job was offered to me out of nowhere, right? Which happened through my mother many years ago. So if I can personalize this card to myself and my own experience with what the Ace of Pentacles means to me, every time this card comes up for someone else, I can relate it to that, and that's going to relate to them. Trust me on this one. Like this one, on the Two of Pentacles here, we can see a passionate, energetic type of person who doesn't know when his ship's coming in, doesn't really know what's going on, and juggling a lot of things. I remember a time in my life where I was juggling a lot of different things, like a job and some people in my life and work and school and everything. So I could personally identify this as something, where I'm juggling a lot of things at one time that have to do with earthly things. Now, it could be money, like we talked about before, something formative, a project that's come into fruition, because you got to remember, Earth is all about tangible things on an earthly plane. The Three of Pentacles, basically this is some people in a chapel, and you can see the Three Pentacles up at the cathedral top here. They're discussing finalizing what's going on here. We can think about trilogy, and we can think about earthly things. So how that can relate to you about a project not quite being finished yet. It's in the works. You've already put work into it. like a three-legged stool, right? So we got three legs, but what about the seat? So on an earthly realm of some kind, there's a project in motion that needs some fine tuning or discussion amongst people. So again, we can climb into this card on a meditative level and pretend we're in there and look up at the beautiful woodwork, talk to the people involved, have a seat on the bench, but relate this to something personal to me where I've had a project in motion and I need to get back to that project. But I know there's some discussion and some fine tuning that needs to get done to complete it. Maybe seeking counsel, from more than one person. So personalizing our selves with these cards, we can definitely climb into them, make something personal to us. I wanted to talk to you about each and every card, which we'll be doing, but I just wanted to briefly talk to you about how to personalize your journey, getting inside these cards and being a part of this scene, and then relating it to something personal to you, so that every time this card comes up for someone else, you'll know exactly what that card means to you, and then you can relate it to them as you perceive it. That's the very best way to connect with your cards and have them be a part of who you are. And again, the foundation with the Rider-Waite deck is just phenomenal because of all of the symbolism with them. I did a very brief overview of elements. I'm going to add to that because I want to talk about some Tatwas in that series. So I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I'm hoping that you try this method because it's going to definitely connect you more with your tarot. I would go suit by suit, and I would start probably with earth, then go to water, then go to air, then go to fire. The major arcana are a little more involved, and I think that I'm really not sure which is best, so I'm going to meditate on it and seek some counsel on that of which way to go next. But so now we know a little bit about how we can bond, how we can protect, how we can store our cards, and get to know them better. And yes, it's safe for you to be in your bed with your cards under your pillow if you're sleeping next to someone else. That's fine. I don't know why that just popped in my head, but it did. All right. Anyway, that's it. I don't know what else to really say at this moment with this. So I'm thinking maybe we should go along and look at some different layouts and get this all under, our understanding more, so that when we do jump in and start doing some readings and play with them a little bit, we'll have a really good foundation to do that. So first of all, I want to go through each of the suits and give you that information of each card. But definitely check it out. Go meditate on your cards, jump in there, converse, commune, and connect yourself to that card with a personal situation that's happened to you. Okay, so leave comments, subscribe. Any concerns, questions, input, constructive criticism is always great. Maybe you can add to our discussion here and help each other to learn the tarot even more. All right, so I'm signing off, and until next time, be well. Take care.